Hey friends, welcome to my channel, The Real Tanyetta, where we talk about truths, origins, history, anything and everything. If you are not yet subscribed, please make sure to do so. And if you are, please turn on your notifications so you do not miss a thing. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. Valentine's Day originated from a blend of ancient Roman fertility festivals and Christian martyrdom. It evolved during the Middle Ages, when poets like Geoffrey Chaucer first associated mid-February with romantic love, eventually transforming it into the modern day of affection we celebrate today. The holiday's history is a mix of ancient rituals, folklore, and romantic literature. Lupercalia. Many historians trace the date to the mid-February Roman festival of Lupercalia. This was a raucous, ancient pagan celebration of spring and fertility dedicated to the Roman gods of agriculture and founders of Romulus and Remus. Saint Valentine. In the 5th century A.D., Pope Gelasius abolished Lupercalia and declared February 14th as Saint Valentine's Day to honor early Christian martyrs named Valentine. Legends suggest Saint Valentine was a Roman priest who defied Emperor Claudius II's ban on marriage for young men by secretly joining lovers in Christian marriage. Medieval romance. The day's connection to romance didn't emerge until the Middle Ages. The famous English poet Geoffrey Chaucer was the first to record the pairing of the St. Valentine's Day with romantic love in his 1380s poem, The Parliament of Fowls, linking it to the spring mating season. Written greetings. The tradition of sending handwritten notes blossomed shortly after. The oldest known written Valentine still in existence is a poem written in 1415 by Charles, Duke of Orleans, to his wife while he was imprisoned in the Tower of London. Valentine's Day is a holiday celebrated every February 14th. In 2026, it falls on Saturday, February 14th. Across the United States and in other places around the world, friends and loved ones exchange flowers, candy, gifts, all in the name of Saint Valentine. But who is this mysterious saint, and where did these traditions come from? Find out about the meaning and history of Valentine's Day from the ancient Rome ritual of Lupercalia that welcomed spring to the card-giving customs of Victorian England. The history of Valentine's Day and the story of the patron saint of lovers is shrouded in mystery. We do know that February has long been celebrated as a month of romance, and that Valentine's Day, as we know it today, contains vestiges of both Christian and ancient Roman tradition. But who was Saint Valentine, and how did he become associated with this ancient rite? The Catholic Church recognizes at least 3 different saints named Valentine or Valentinus, who were martyred in the 3rd century A.D. One legend contends that Valentine was a priest in Rome. When Emperor Claudius II, Gothicus decided that single men made better soldiers than those with wives and families, he outlawed marriage for young men. Valentine, realizing the injustice of the decree, defied Claudius and continued to marry couples in secret. When Valentine's actions were discovered, Claudius ordered his execution. Others insist Saint Valentine of Interamna, modern-day Terni, Italy. A bishop is the true namesake of the holiday. He too was beheaded during Claudius II's reign for refusing to renounce his faith and converting new followers. Other stories suggest Valentine might have been killed for attempting to help Christians escape harsh Roman prisons, where they were often beaten and tortured. According to one legend, an imprisoned Valentine actually sent the first, quote, Valentine, end quote, greeting himself after he fell in love with a young girl, possibly his jailer's daughter, who visited him during the confinement. Before his death, it is alleged that he wrote her a letter signed, quote, from your Valentine, end quote, an expression that is still in use today. Although the truth behind the Valentine legends is murky, the stories all emphasize his appeal as a sympathetic, heroic, and mostly importantly, romantic figure. By the Middle Ages, perhaps thanks to this reputation, Valentine had become one of the most popular saints in England and France. Origins of Valentine's Day, a pagan festival in February. Although some believe Valentine's Day is celebrated in the middle of February to commemorate the anniversary of Valentine's Day or burial, which probably occurred around AD 270. Another theory is that the Christian church might have decided to place St. Valentine's feast day in the middle of February in an effort to, quote, Christianize, end quote, the pagan celebration of Lupercalia. Modern scholars dispute this idea given the few similarities between Lupercalia and the modern holiday. But it is true that passion was top of mind for ancient Romans in mid-February, just as it is for many people today. Celebrated at the Ides of February, or February 15th, Lupercalia was a fertility festival dedicated to Faunus, the Roman god of agriculture, as well as the Roman founders Romulus and Remus. To begin the festival, members of the Luperci, an order of Roman priests, gathered at a sacred cave where the infants Romulus and Remus were believed to have been cared for by a she-wolf, or lupa. The priest then sacrificed a goat for fertility and a dog for purification. After, they skinned the goat and made its hide into strips, dipped those into the sacrificial blood, and took to the streets, gently slapping both women and crop fields with the goat hide. Far from being fearful, Roman women often welcomed the touch of the hides because they believed it would make them more fertile in the coming year. Historical evidence of Lupercalia is spotty. However, we know the popular festival was observed for more than 1,000 years. It became increasingly violent as time passed, drawing criticism from the likes of Cicero and some Christian leaders. Valentine's Day meaning a day of romance and love. Lupercalia survived the initial rise of Christianity, but was outlawed as it was deemed, quote, unchristian, end quote. At the end of the 5th century, when Pope Gelasius declared February 14th was St. Valentine's Day. It was not until much later, however, that the day became definitively associated with love. During the Middle Ages, a common belief across France and England held that February 14th was the beginning of birds' mating season, which added to the idea that Valentine's Day should be an association for romance. The English poet Geoffrey Chaucer was the first to record St. Valentine's Day as a day of romantic celebration in his c. 1380s poem, quote, "The Parliament of Falls," end quote, writing, quote, "For this was sent on Saint Valentine's Day, whan every foal cometh there to choose his mate," end quote. Valentine greetings were popular as far back as the Middle Ages. Though written, Valentines did not begin to appear after the 1400s. The oldest known Valentine still in existence today is a poem Charles, Duke of Orleans, wrote to his wife in 1415, while he was imprisoned in the Tower of London, following his capture at the Battle of Agincourt. The greeting is now part of the manuscript collection of the British Library in London. Several years later, it is believed that King Henry V hired a writer named John Lingate to compose a Valentine note to Catherine of Valois. By the mid-17th century, Valentine's Day had become a celebratory day in English folk tradition that marked the coming of spring. A written history of the holiday from the early 18th century describes rural Englanders drawing names from a vessel to find their Valentines. The matchmaking lottery was considered a good omen for a paired couple's future marriage. Who is Cupid? Cupid is often portrayed on Valentine's Day cards as a naked cherub launching arrows of love at unsuspecting lovers. But the Roman god Cupid has his roots in Greek mythology as the Greek god of love, Eros. Accounts of his birth vary. Some say he is the son of Nyx and Erebus. Others claim his parents are Aphrodite and Ares. Still others suggest he is the son of Iris and Zephyrus, or even Aphrodite and Zeus, who would have been both his father and grandfather. According to the Greek archaic poets, Eros was a handsome immortal who played with the emotions of gods and men, using golden arrows to entice love and leading ones to sow aversion. It was not until the Hellenistic period that he began to portray as the mischievous, chubby child ever present on Valentine's Day.